Hi everyone, welcome. If you are new to this page, then thank you for being here. I'm Chelsea Marie, I'm a board certified health coach, and I specialize in helping high performing women how to not only recover from burnout, but to get their energy and their glow back. So that way you have all the energy that you need to show up every single day, not only for your family, your partner, for yourself, but also to create the impact that you're here to create. So today I am going to dive into some details on what nutritional demands are required during each phase of your cycle. So the one thing that I remember after having my kids, especially my son, was thinking like, how on earth am I going to handle, being a mom and also running a business? Burnout is something I was always really prone to. In my early 20s, I fell into extremely hard adrenal burnout. I basically had no energy in me to even get up. I had no motivation to really do anything. Life was absolutely miserable. It was affecting my looks. I had like extreme puffiness it started under one eye and then both eyes had it. My body wasn't detoxing properly. Life was miserable. And I was really afraid of falling back into that after having my son Jackson. So I started looking for ways that I could really just create a strong foundation for my nervous system, my adrenals, my hormones to really prevent burnout. And then I started with moon syncing, which was really helpful. And by the way, if you are in menopause, I highly recommend moon syncing. However, today we are going to talk about cycle syncing. And this is specifically for women who are still ovulating. So whether you're like a young woman or whether you're in perimenopause, if you are getting a cycle, this is for you. And the reason why this works so well, and I feel like every single woman needs to know this, is that our bodies, for number one, our hormones are the number one thing that run our energy, our mood, our performance, our productivity. It runs our life. So if we don't understand what's happening with our hormones, then we're going to be just basically trying to show up every single day the same way, and we end up burning out. So one thing you need to understand is that men function on a 24-hour cycle. Women function on a 28-day cycle. So the energy that you have from each phase is going to shift. Your metabolism shifts. Your body's ability to burn fat will shift. Your brain chemistry shifts. Your nutritional demands, everything shifts because your hormones are shifting. So in this video specifically, we are going to be talking about the first 3 phases of your cycle, which is your menses, also known as your period, the follicular phase, as well as the ovulatory phase. And then just after this live, I will come back on and I will dive deep into the luteal phase. The luteal phase is where we have high cortisol naturally or higher. Our resting oxidative stress is a lot higher too. So every phase is important. And like I said, I wanted to make 2 videos so that way I'm not cutting anything short. And that way the videos aren't too long either. Okay, so let's dive into what your body needs during phase 1, which is your menses, otherwise known as your period. So during this time of the month, your hormones are flat. Your estrogen and progesterone, everything is really low during this time. Your body is going to be naturally more tired. Energy will be low. This can last anywhere between like a couple of days to maybe a week, depending on you specifically, because we're also unique in that way. Iron is going to be huge during this time, your other minerals as well. So focusing on like mineral rich foods, and then vitamin C. So during this time, your immune system is naturally lower. So having the extra vitamin C is really supportive to your immune system. So if you're running a business and you've got clients, then you also got your kids, this is the time that you'll find that you'll be really more prone to getting the colds, the flus. So if you want to prevent that, top up on your vitamin C during this time. And it also is really essential for helping your body to absorb and to utilize your iron. During this time, your body also needs added protein. So you want to increase your protein anywhere between 10 to 20 grams, at least for the first week. You can even go as far as 2 weeks. If you are working out during your cycle, during your period, then I would do like the larger amount, the 20 grams of protein. Hey ladies, just so you know, if you have any questions, you can always feel free to post them in the comments. So during this phase, you want to add more protein. So basically your body is releasing tissue, it's releasing the lining, but at the same time, your body's going to need the added amino acids to build new tissue. So we really want to give our body that nutrient so we have it on demand. So once again, during your menses, during your period, you want to stock up on iron-rich foods, mineral-rich foods, vitamin C, and then increase your protein by 10 to 20 grams. Also, just be aware, because your estrogen and your hormones are really low during this time, be careful when it comes to working out. Be careful when it comes time to burning the midnight oil. During at least the first couple of days, I would say do more like yin yoga or some Pilates. You just don't want to go too crazy, because this is the time where your body is setting the foundation for the entire next 28 days. So think of it as if you're building a house. You need a really good foundation. If you don't have a solid foundation and a solid frame, the house will not be, it won't have a good structure. So during your period, during the menses phase, you really want to make sure to give your body these specific nutrients, so that way your body has what it needs to really keep going over the next 28 days. Also to prevent burnout. During this time, also anti-inflammatory, but also herbs that really support circulation. So you can do cayenne, you can do cinnamon, you can do turmeric. These will really support reducing inflammation, but also really enhancing circulation to really give you that full, proper detox. During this time, your body is in a full-blown detox phase. Your body is shedding estrogen, a whole bunch of other hormones, the tissue. This is also a good time where if you do want to incorporate like a light cleanse or a detox, you can go with it. But once again, you really want to make sure that you're being gentle with your body, because your energy stores aren't quite there yet. Phase 2 is the follicular phase. So the follicular phase technically starts with your period. However, you enter your true follicular phase after your period ends. So this is when estrogen is starting to rise up. It slowly starts to rise up from the beginning, but you really start to feel that rise in estrogen after your after your period. And then it starts to increase, and it's going to keep increasing until you hit ovulation. So during this time, estrogen loves leafy greens. She loves vegetables. Specifically, you want to focus on 3 things. Polyphenols, which are plant-based antioxidants. You want to focus on prebiotics as well as probiotics. So in case you didn't know, probiotics are basically live bacteria. So you can find this in foods such as yogurt, kefir. Look for plain. I always say, sugar creeps up so easily into our diet. So if you can focus on plain, add it into your smoothie where you've got like some frozen fruit. You won't even taste it. You won't get that like plain taste in it. You'll just get the fruit, and then you'll get the added protein as well as the live culture. You can do kimchi. You can do sauerkraut. Depending on your body, on your genetics, some foods might be more beneficial for you than others. So kind of just play around with them and see how you feel. So once again, during the follicular phase of your cycle, if you really want to prevent burnout throughout the month and you want to give yourself sustainable energy, focus on the leafy greens, your vegetables, your polyphenols, your probiotics, and your prebiotics. One thing to also know is during this phase, your caloric intake is lower, so you don't need as much food. However, your nutritional demand is high because your estrogen is high. You have all this extra energy to, whether it's performing in the gym or just running around, getting your errands done. This is the time where your body wants to move and really wants to get things done. So like I said, your caloric intake is lower during this phase as well as ovulation. However, you still want lots of nutrients. So think like lighter foods, like your lean meats. You can do lots of seafood, salmon. You can do like chicken. You can do turkey. And then also, once again, this is a great time to add in superfoods. So whether it's something like your greens powder, whether it's like a camu powder, just like I said, lots of like lighter foods. You don't need heavier foods. You just need lots of nutrient-rich foods during this time. And then during ovulation, this is where estrogen and testosterone are now at their peak. So during this phase, your body is going to need, number one, inositol is going to be really important for helping with the egg release. So a lot of people tend to think that the reason for our entire cycle is basically for the actual menses, your period, when in fact, it's actually the whole purpose is to ovulate. And the purpose of ovulation is to create. So whether you are trying to get pregnant or whether you're not pregnant, you have your kids, or that's just not in line for you, that's not what you're looking for, your body's energy and your chemistry is in place and it's ready to create. So whether that is creating financial success, whether that is creating the life that you want, this is a prime time with energy where your body can really receive a lot and also create a lot. So when we can support our body's proper hormonal releases and pathways, you really start to get the full-blown benefit of that energy and your ability to create. So inositol, your B's in general are going to be really important for every phase of your cycle. However, during this phase, inositol really does, it's supportive for that release of the egg. And then also B12, folate, is going to be really essential as well. So keep in mind that if you are undermethylated, your body, you're going to want for one, avoid folic acid. So folic acid for individuals who are undermethylated becomes really toxic. 1 in 4 individuals are undermethylated. So you can get tested. I can help you with that and get your genetic testing done. A couple signs are that your body is really sensitive to chemicals, whether it's like perfumes, cleaning products. You don't detox very well. So if you're someone who can have like a couple drinks and you don't really understand why your body is so sensitive, that could possibly be why. The personality trait that comes with being undermethylated is someone who's extremely driven, high performing, OCD, perfectionist type personality. So if you feel like you might be undermethylated, you're going to want to look for methylated B's. So methylated B12, methylated folate, so that way your body can actually utilize it. Now, one thing to also keep in mind is if you have a slow COMT, COMT, this is another gene that some people have, and often a lot of people who are undermethylated also have this one as well. So if you are genetically predisposed to having a slow COMT gene, then what happens is your brain isn't recycling your neurotransmitters as efficiently. So you end up with higher amounts of adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and you can easily feel overwhelmed and anxious. So your active B's so increase this, so you can end up with higher levels of dopamine. So if you think you might be undermethylated, look for the methylated B's. But if you think you might have a slow COMT gene, where you're more prone to anxiety, and you would really notice that with things such as caffeine, anything that really stimulates that dopamine, which is your B's. So by taking B's, if you feel too revved up, too stimulated, you can possibly have a slow COMT gene. Like I said, I can get you your genetic testing done and we can really nail down which genes are affecting you. But just keep in mind, my whole point with this is don't go high dose. Start slow with any of your vitamins, especially your activated B's, to see how your body responds to it first. But during your, like I said, your ovulatory phase, your active B's, your B vitamins in general are going to be really essential for just your body's everyday performance. And then what else did I want to say here? I think we covered that. Oh yeah, so for the first half of your cycle, specifically like your follicular and your ovulatory phase, you'll want to focus on soluble fibers. So your soluble fibers are going to be the ones that actually break down, they ferment, and they actually feed the good bacteria in your gut. This is so essential because what's happening here is we get that increase in estrogen from like our follicular, and then it peaks at ovulation. And then once it drops, our body is going to need the proper environment to break down, to metabolize, to detox, and excrete these excess hormones that our body no longer needs. So in order to support our body in doing so, we really have to give our body the right foods for our bacteria as well as the right bacteria. And that's why I said focus on your probiotics, focus on your fermented foods. This helps to give your body the bacteria, and then focus on feeding the good bacteria. Your bacteria plays a huge role in not just breaking it down, but helping to excrete the excess hormones. So think of it as if you, let's say your plan for Black Friday was to have $1 million launch. well, you wouldn't want to just wait until like Black Friday like week to really just throw together your offers. You would want to set yourself up for success, maybe 6 months ahead, maybe the whole year. That's what your whole goal is. At the end of the day, you want to take action, you want to make a plan, and you want to put things into place so that way you are ready to create those results. That's the same thing with our body. In order to really support our body in metabolizing and breaking down and detoxing our hormones, we have to give it what it needs ahead of time. So that's why come follicular phase, you really want to give your body the right prebiotics and probiotics to really allow it to be able to properly break down, metabolize, and excrete your excess hormones. So that way when ovulation is done, when you get that drop in hormones, your body isn't flooded with all these excess hormones. What else did I want to say here? So if you have an imbalance of bad bacteria, one thing that occurs is not only is your body lacking the ability to properly break down the estrogen, but what happens is after your liver has worked so hard to break it down in phase 1 and then again in phase 2, and then during phase 2, your body basically breaks it down into a easier to detox form. So after it comes out of phase 2, it goes back into your digestive system so your body can get rid of it through consistent and proper bowel movements. So if you're not going daily, that alone is going to be a problem. But if you have too much bad bacteria in your body, if there's an imbalance between your gut bacteria, then that bad bacteria actually reactivates that estrogen into a more toxic form of estrogen that recycles now back into your system. So that's one of the ways that you can end up with excessively high estrogen. And if you have high estrogen, you will experience the bloating, like a ton of bloating, the breast tenderness, the mood swings, and it throws off your entire cycle. And that's where you can be prone to the energy dips, the mood swings, and just the burnout. And like I said, if you have a business to run, if you have a mission, or if you've got goals, you're going to want to make sure that your hormones are on track. So that way you have the energy, the clarity, and like I said, the momentum to really keep things in motion. So that is it for this video. I'm gonna, like I said, end this live, and then I will hop back on and create the next video for the luteal phase, where we are going to dive into not just the nutritional demands that's happening in your luteal phase, but what you really can do during this prime time phase to really, really, really prevent burnout, as well as preventing the pregnenolone steal, which causes a ton of hormonal chaos. So I will leave it at that. If you have questions, you can always comment down below. You can always reach out to me in the DMs. One thing I will say quickly is if you are needing support with your hormones, if you feel like you have no idea what to do, if you feel like you're struggling with your energy, feel free to reach out. I've got my main signature course, A Woman's Secret Code, which is an evergreen style done for you. It is at an extremely affordable price. This is going to really show you how you can get your hormones on track, how your gut, your liver, your adrenals, your endocrine system, how it all needs to be supported so your body feels safe and secure and grounded, so you can really get your energy, so you can become really rich in energy every single day. And then I really teach you how to sync your business with your cycle, so you not only prevent burnout, but can create more momentum and more results within the work that you do. So if you have any questions, like I said, reach out. I have a promo until September where you have an extra 8 weeks. Where you have a total of 8 weeks of pocket coaching sessions. That's where you have me in your back pocket to really support you on how to integrate everything so it feels effortless. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that, and I will see you in the next live. Bye.